Today on Art Scene we'll feature the unique dance company Wonderbound, art in the Westwood neighborhood with Art Place, an update on a viaduct mural project, Ductwork 2, a dance performance from the Flamenco Fantasy Dance Theater, a neighborhood art showcase, Cherry Arts Festival at Stanley Marketplace, and Colorado Symphony's new music director, Brett Mitchell. The dancing, the choreography, the music, and the costumes are fantastic. Hey, I'm Bobby Lefebvre here at Wonderbound. Another fantastic element of their programming is that anyone can watch their rehearsals for free. They're doing some great work in the community. Let's take a look.
Wonderbound uses dance to deepen humankind's common bond through uncommon endeavors of discovery and creation. What that means is that we engage in a lot of creation of new work and a lot of collaboration.
I know one of the things that you all try to do is sort of break down the boundaries between artistic disciplines. Tell us a little bit more about why that's important and what you found while you were doing that work.
Yeah, I think with any art form, it's very important that we learn about all the intricacies of that art form. But sometimes we can also start to not necessarily see the big picture. All of our productions are created through collaboration, and all of our productions are with live music.
Not only do we have 10 dancers who come from all over the country, we also work with about 35 partnering organizations every year and as many as 65 to 70 local Denver artists.
Musicians, visual artists, actors and actresses, magicians, people build puppets for us.
Through collaboration, we're able to kind of step outside ourselves and start to see our form in a different way.
Even bass drum got me dancing.
Our dancers are all classically trained dancers, and with any classical form, over the evolution of those classical art forms, we've kind of siloed ourselves inside of rehearsal studios. So we decided to flip that completely on its head and say, what happens when we live out our daily life in front of the world?
We have clear glass garage doors that you can see the process from the ground up, which is, you don't do it in the dance world. Everything is kept in a room and behind closed curtains until it's, quote, show ready. Here we like to show the process so that people have a better understanding of what goes into it, but also it makes them feel a part of the creation.
It's very humbling. It's a very humbling experience, but it also, what I found is that energy of new eyes in the space can cause me as an artist to suddenly see what I'm doing differently. One of our top priorities is making sure that we open our art form to as many people as possible, and in particular try to focus on providing that to populations that don't generally have access to it. For example, the homeless population. These are people who are getting no arts programming, and when you're wanting to see a population find their way forward, the first thing that you need to do is give inspiration for purpose forward, right? And so trying to put beauty into their reality, just that can give them the inspiration to keep pushing another day.
The homeless are our largest daily audience, and so for them to see something of beauty every day, the biggest gift that we can give is our art, and we get to give it to those who need it most every single day.
Dance has been shown to have a great impact on memory. So we're exploring forward with the local chapter of the National Alzheimer's Association to see how we can help at least mitigate some of those symptoms. And then we also work with kids in Title I elementary schools across the community. So we go into 24 elementary schools and bring dance into these kids' lives in a direct way. We don't just show them dance, we go there to work with them. We bring those kids on stage, have them work with the professional dancers to create their own dance and experience the thrill of creating art in a collaborative manner. Suddenly when they make that connection between seeing somebody on stage who might look like them, and then they start to, you can see it in their eyes when they suddenly make that discovery of, wow, that could be me. We all have bodies, right? We all exist in the world and experience the world through our human form. It's something that we all have in common. It's what informs us every day as we move through life. So if we can use that bodily form to try to express some really complex ideas as well as some really primal ideas about who we are and those basic things that drive us forward, that desire to have a connection with another person, to be accepted in a community, be heard and understood as a human being, as a living person in the world. I believe that it can reach to people at a really fundamental level that can not have anything to do with formal understanding of the art form. All of our ticket price is reasonable anyway, but then we also do a lot of free tickets to individuals who can't afford to buy them, trying to always make sure that we're bringing as many people into our world as possible.
Thanks to everyone at Wonderbound for having us. Last year on Art Scene, we featured Ductwork. It's a mural project at the section of the I-70 viaduct in Globeville, Elyria, Swansea that might be coming down soon. But this year, they hosted another event to further transform the viaduct. So here is an art moment with Ductwork 2. And now for the art and artists of the Westwood neighborhood with Art Place.
Bienvenido al barrio de Westwood, un lugar donde viven muchos inmigrantes, y el 80% de la comunidad son hispanos. Hay una rica historia cultural aquí. Tenemos el mayor número de niños que en cualquier otro barrio en Denver. Las familias de Westwood tienen menos acceso a los espacios abiertos y seguros en la comunidad, y la mala transitabilidad mantienen a los residentes en el interior y contribuyen a la tasa de obesidad infantil, el más alto en la ciudad de Denver. Pero todo esto está cambiando a medida que Revision organiza a los residentes para crear soluciones dirigidas para la comunidad, que promueven la creación de lugares de una comunidad más fuerte y de un orgullo cultural.
For decades, residents and leaders and people all throughout this neighborhood have been working to transform Westwood and Morrison Road into a cultural corridor that celebrates who we are, makes it safe for folks to walk around, using art as our platform to do it.
The Artista Plaza is going to be the catalyst. It's going to be the center and the heart of the Arts District, and we'll build everything off of that. It really connects the southern part of Morrison Road to the north and gives us a safe route across Morrison Road. The expression of art is a really important aspect in terms of building community, and especially in this community that's been left out in a lot of ways. So to see people take pride in the art that they create and really share that with their surrounding community, it's creating an identity here.
Hemos comenzado la construcción en el sitio del centro de la comunidad. Habrá una cooperativa de alimentos para aumentar el acceso a alimentos sanos, una granja, un espacio de encuentro de la comunidad para eventos y celebraciones culturales que contará con una fuente, con asientos, artes y diseño de mosaico. La donación también financiará un centro educativo de arte y taller para niños y artistas residentes.
My name is Santiago Jaramillo, and I'm one of the co-founders of D3 Arts. So I know being an artist here in Westwood is challenging because Westwood isn't typically known as an art district, or that people come here for art. Now that we have this location to actually have studio space and to have art gallery showings, I know that that will provide more exposure for Westwood and Morrison Road. The vision is to have sculptures, the way that the plaza is situated, to represent the Americas, the culture from Mayans, Aztecs, Incas, even some of the Lakotas. The dance that we do is the Aztec dance. It's called Mitotelitzli, and what it symbolizes is a movement of the universe, but that also is a movement of people and energy and creativity. To understand what my roots were, to understand what my ancestors gave to the world, that brings a sense of pride, and it brings a sense of community, and that we're rooted here in this land, and that what it does is that it makes you want to improve yourself. It gives you a purpose.
Great work on the west side. We'll be back with more art scene after the break. We'll check out the Flamenco Fantasy Dance Theater, Cherry Arts Festival at Stanley Marketplace, and the Colorado Symphony's new music director, Brett Mitchell. We're back on Art Scene. We featured Denver's legendary flamenco guitarist, Rene Heredia, on our show. Now let's take a look at a piece from his dance company, the Flamenco Fantasy Dance Theater with the Bulerias, a gypsy jam. Awesome stuff. To see a show with the Flamenco Fantasy Dance Theater, check out reneheredia.com. You probably know about the Cherry Creek Arts Festival, but do you know about the Cherry Arts Festival at the Stanley Marketplace near Stapleton?
Seen the bright lights in Memphis. Now come again.
That's James Floyd. He makes string instruments out of recycled materials. He was one of nearly 100 artists showcasing work at this year's festival. Visitors came out for food, fun, and thousands of items for sale, from traditional paintings to some funky items like custom snow globes and jewelry made from fossils. The three-day festival also featured an art brunch that raised money for Cherry Arts' nonprofit mission to support art education in local schools. Up next, the Colorado Symphony has a new music director, Brett Mitchell.
This relationship with the Colorado Symphony, with me becoming the next music director, I don't know that there was ever one moment where all of us said, yep, that's it. The whole experience of the music making, not just in the concert, but in the rehearsals, knowing that we had that great chemistry, meeting quite a lot of the staff, knowing that we had great chemistry as well, and learning so much about the Colorado Symphony and our mission and how closely that aligns. You put all of those things together and it really is a match made in heaven. Working with the Colorado Symphony musicians was a really extraordinary experience. You never quite know when you stand in front of an orchestra for the first time how open they'll be, how receptive they'll be to new ideas. And with the kind of repertoire that the orchestra and I did on our performance together, it was so varied. I mean, there was Beethoven and Brahms and Rimsky-Korsakov, but there was also more pops type fare with John Williams and Leroy Anderson. And so as we went through the rehearsal process, and I saw that they were able to so easily change costumes, as it were, between every one of the pieces, it did nothing but instill confidence in me that we would be able to tackle all of those things. There's something really special about a theater in the round because you really, as one of the performers on stage, to be surrounded by the audience that you're playing for, to really be in the middle of everybody, it's a really wonderful thing because, especially as a conductor, when I'm facing the orchestra, in some cases it's actually kind of easy to forget that the audience is even back there and you're just with the orchestra. But in Boettcher, because of the extraordinary setup, you really are immersed in the audience, and I think that ends up making for a much more immersive experience. My musical journey really began at the piano. I've always played the piano my whole life. I took some piano lessons when I was younger, but ended up stopping that when I started playing in the bands in elementary school. I will proudly tell you that I played alto saxophone. It was the 80s, you know. And then I ended up switching when I was in high school over to the percussion section. So for most of high school and college when I was playing in ensembles, if I wasn't playing the piano, which I've always played, I was playing percussion. I was a junior in high school. Living in Seattle, and I thought at that time that I might want to be a music educator. So I went to the Washington Music Educators Association annual conference, at which the All-State Orchestra played. And they played the finale of Mahler's First Symphony, and I was blown away. And especially as a 16-year-old, you know, when you're so open to these things and anything that's kind of hard on your sleeve is so great when you're a teenager. We all have that teenage angst, and who expresses that better than Mahler? So that was a real turning point for me, and it was the point where I realized that I didn't just want to be involved with music for the rest of my life, but that I wanted to be involved with orchestral music and classical music. When I went to my undergraduate degree at Western Washington University, just north of Seattle, where I'm from, I had to decide what I wanted to study, and did I really want to become a pianist, or was there maybe something else that I wanted to do? I was born in 1979, so I grew up with Star Wars and Superman and E.T. and Indiana Jones and all of that. And so when I found out that all of that music was composed by one guy, John Williams, I thought that maybe what I would like to do was write film scores myself. And so I ended up getting an undergraduate degree in composition. And I did a little bit of film and TV work when I was an undergrad, but by the time I went to grad school, I knew that I wanted to become a conductor. And so that was when I really started in earnest the journey towards becoming a conductor. As I go on and on in my career and I work with such great orchestras, I've learned to release how exactly does this piece go. Are there details about which I'm very convicted and feel very strongly? Of course, but all 100 people in front of me when we're rehearsing, they all have music degrees too. They all have life experiences that allows them to make contributions. And I view my role as a leader not as this is the way it has to go, but as trying to bring out the best in every single person on stage. And that really means allowing the musicians to be themselves.
So nice to see the Colorado Symphony thriving. Hey, I'm Bobby Lefebvre. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time as we discover more of Denver's art scene. In the meantime, I'm going to check out more Wonderbound.